Why do thieves prefer to steal Android phones over iPhones? Well, it's because they're afraid to face time. What's going on, YouTube? It is Tuesday, which means we have our weekly vendor refresh. We have 3 vendors with all brand new items. We start with Violet Rule. As always, like and subscribe, please. And let's see what they got for us, because the first thing they have is the Scribe Chitin Padding. Now, this is Cyptcannon. Now, notoriously, I've talked about Cyptcannon a couple times because it's a really cool mythic, very niche. It basically gives your ultimate to other people. Here, you take my ultimate, spread it around, pass it around, a little more ultimate for everybody else on the wall. This lead for it, though, just comes from a world boss in the Telvanni Peninsula, so not one that you're going to go out and purchase. Most people that use this, I would say, very specific situations for dungeons, trials, or PvP ball groups. Majority of players don't need this mythic, but it's not super difficult to get, but this is not one that you're going to purchase with it. Next up, we have the Silver Strand of Sara's Bane. Now, this one comes from the Pearls of E. Just going to say that because I'm going to mispronounce it. Everyone's going to comment it, and I don't want people to comment my mispronunciations. I promise I don't do it on purpose. But this one actually is relatively annoying because it's from safe boxes, specifically in the Reach, which are, this, granted, with add-ons, it's a little bit less painful to do that, but the majority of console players don't have add-ons. Even PC players, a lot of them don't have add-ons. So to me, not a bad one to purchase. The actual pearls themselves are not bad. They give you basically major heroism pretty consistently. And overall, I think it's fine. I think this mythic is slightly overrated by players. I think even like Cyptcannons is a better support mythic, but I think a lot of people just look at major heroism so favorably, which is obviously, you know, reasonable. Major heroism is really good. To me, though, I think this is probably more of like a B to A tier mythic, not an S tier mythic. As much as I would love to clickbait you, that's a joke. I don't think it's necessary to purchase, even though this one is a bit annoying. Use add-ons, and if you really desperately need it, yeah, you can consider buying it. But 5,000 Archival Fortunes is an investment because you're obviously going to have to get 5,000 Archival Fortunes, or in the future you're going to have 5,000 less Archival Fortunes if something else good comes up. So that's why I wouldn't buy it. But it is a decent mythic. I probably underrate it compared to some people, but I do think it's probably in that like B plus A minus mythic tier range. This next one is weird just because there's not a lot of listings of it, and probably just because nobody really farmed this item when it came out, because it looks like an urchin. And I don't know many people who want to look like they're in some sort of weird mud crab role play. Granted, there's probably a market in Riften for that, but Riften, not a very popular city when it comes to gold making, so not going to get rich there. You can see that it's got a decent actual value to it. It's got decent value over time. But 750,000 gold is also not a lot compared to 15,000 Archival Fortunes. And this is PC prices, so this is probably closer to like 300 to 400 thou wow on console. Would not invest in it personally unless you really wanted to be a mud crab and start like a mud crab only OF page and rift it. And you're not going to make that much gold doing that. Next up, we have our formulas. Now, these are really cool because we can see how valuable are the formulas. And you'll see this one definitely has the most value to it. And obviously it's because it's, you know, it's interactable. It's kind of cool. It's a hearth. So this is actually one I very rarely recommend you buy one of these, because at the end of the day, if you want to make gold from this, you're going to have to sell the pre-made version of these. So you're going to have to use Mundane Runes, Heartwood, Resin, Stendar Stamps, and Recruitus. None of which are necessarily very cheap if you want to try to make your money back on this. But granted, you're only spending 2,000 Archival Fortunes. So this is actually one that I'm going to buy just to show that I do buy these every so often. But these other two for 33 and 37,000 gold, not worth the value in my opinion. The 74,000 gold, it looks really cool. I could see myself putting this in my house. That's how I determine if I should buy one of these, not necessarily just the average in gold. And obviously, because this is Xbox prices you're seeing, because I play on Xbox, these are worth more on PC. So if you're like 74,000 gold, that's like what, one wax on PC? This will be worth more on PC. Clockwork treasure maps, easy skip. The sets there are certainly better, you know, compared to some zones that have really, you know, stood the test of time, but not worth it. Light armor, also, unless you're really desperate to make a healer character, most of you are probably not making a healer companion. You're probably making a tank companion because that's just arguably a better decision, in my opinion. and light armor pieces of the traits that you need for healing are not super expensive, so I would not necessarily roll on this. You can hear about how Finnbor was resurrected. 1,000 archival fortunes, what a read. And thwarting the Daedra, Dagon's cult. So if you're about to play Oblivion, read this book. Read about how you could thwart Dagon's cult. Probably helpful for the main story in that game. Next up, we have Interrupt, Knockback, and Leeching Thirst, all of which I would say are probably ones that you can skip, in my opinion. None of these jump out at me and go, wow, you need any of these bad boys for Archival Fortunes? Because again, Archival Fortunes are a premium currency. You want to use this to buy whatever new Infinite Archive sets come out or previous existing Infinite Archive sets. Like, you'll want to have this currency ready to drop on goofy stuff like rare mythics, not Leeching Thirst. For 10,000 Archival Fortunes, you could have Momentum in a vibrant yellow. You do have to not use Undaunted Keys. So what's awkward about this, if you have Undaunted Keys, you probably have Archival Fortunes because you're probably a gamer who really enjoys PvE content. So probably not a lot of overlap here on spending, but some people probably do have more Archival Fortunes than they do have Undaunted Keys. Perfectly fine. We next have a trophy. This is sellable for 2,775 gold. Please never consider buying this rune box fragment for that. You could make a pet with it though, if you so chose. And the erroneous archival map, these drop from the archive, and they give you the Shattered Mirror Maze body marks. We talk about them every week. Half the time they're here. Not worth 3,000 archival fortunes, in my opinion. But it does look really cool when you kind of combine it with different skins, because body marks, for those of you who don't know, they will interact differently depending on what skin you're wearing. You could sometimes get cool color combinations. So if you're ever bored and you have a bunch of skins and you have a bunch of body marks, you can throw them together and see if you can create some cool color combos. But these are not necessarily ones that I'd recommend. But as a little side bonus, because you watch my video, you can pick up the gold here. So you could pay your fast travel fee by flying on over. All right, next up, we were inside the Scholarium inside of Ivea. This is now free to play. Very good place to go to get yourself some scripts. Just make sure you've got far enough in the quest line. Believe you have to complete the Indrake to get this bad mamma jamma. So first is Brutality and Sorcery, which is fine. I think it's a fine affect script to own. You're probably not going to use it because you could get Brutality and Sorcery decently easy. Lifesteal, also not very good. Oftentimes, you're not trying to steal the life of your opponent. You're just trying to kill them. You're not trying to do some weird like vampirism, like allow me to suck the life out. No, just kill them. You know, it's great for killing them. Flame damage. There's a lot of vampires out there. Flame damage is great for PvP and decent for PvE, where you can build a lot of flame damage builds. And now you can add that to different scripts. This is one that I think you should own on characters where you think you're going to build for flame damage. So I usually buy this now on characters where I think maybe it's a possibility in the future, so I don't desperately need it and start farming daily quests like a goober and not get it. Because again, if you get it as a duplicate, you could sell it back for 1,000 gold, so you're not wasting too much of an investment. War Mage's defense is also very good in my opinion. It's more of a PvP script, I would say, in my opinion, but it definitely sees quite a bit of utilization in its mitigations ability. So I love this bad boy. Whether or not you use it is going to be up to personal preference, but it's one I would also snag too. So War Mage's defense and flame damage are essential. Feel free to buy them all, especially if you're a completionist and you want to get the achievements done on a character for having all the scripts. But definitely those two I would definitely consider. And finally, we're inside the Imperial Ciy. If you've never been here before, we're inside the sewers. And as always, if you want more information, check out ESOhelper.com. We'll give you the 411 about where you can find these bad boys, how they reset. But the quick TLDR list, which reduce the cost of all your abilities by 6%, which would be decent if it was like a monster set, but a 5-piece set, it's just not very good. I would give it like a 5 out of 10. Maybe you could argue it's like a 6 out of 10. It's mediocre, slightly above average, whatever, because cost reduction is relevant in some metas, but not really in this one, and I don't foresee it coming very good. This next one, though, is Phoenix. I used to love this set because it used to kill you and then revive you instantly. So it was really good. It was basically like a free insta-res, but now it pops when you take damage while you're below 25% health, and then it deals a little bit of flame damage, gives you a big old shield, and even the big old shield is really not that big of a big old shield in my opinion. So something that I would consider overlooking, even though it does, the animation is so beautiful and I really miss it. This used to be one of my favorite sets for PvP, even though it's not very good, it's just funny. And sometimes that's enough. Now it's just funny because because it's not very good. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, you could probably do something with this weird, but I'm talking myself down. It's a 6 out of 10. This next one is interesting because it's from the Saint and Seducer, which I think is one of the best PvP mythics. I think it's arguably the best PvP mythic if you don't have the newest expansion. And because of that, it's definitely worth considering. And it also drops from Maelstrom Arena. Now, you might think to yourself, Jake, Maelstrom Arena is the cupcake caker of dungeons or arenas. Why would you recommend buying it? And it's because it's a PvP mythic, and you can buy it with a PvP currency. So because PvPers have Telvar, they're more likely to say, you know what, F it. I'll just spend a little bit of Telvar, save myself from farming Maelstrom Arena, who knows how many times, to get this lead. And I think, honestly, that mindset is totally okay. If you want to consider it, Saint Seducer, if you don't have Solstice, is probably one of, if not the best PvP mythics in the game. But that logic has a little bit of limits because, for example, the Moonstone Ring Bearing also it's the best in slot PvP mythic, but it comes from a delve. Don't spend 25k Telvar to avoid farming a delve. I will encourage you to not farm arenas. They could be annoying, or dungeon boss leads, or safe boxes, stuff like that. You can sit and kill a delve boss unless you have tons of Telvar and you're like, Jake, I just want to have this mythic, and if I don't have to farm, because delve bosses do have a cooldown, you know, it's like 5 to 8 minutes. You're sitting there, you're chilling, you kill it, you don't get it. This did take me like 40-ish minutes probably to get, which is time, but I don't know if I would spend 25k Telvar to save that time, especially because it's you know it's going to be easy in the sense you're just killing a delve boss while you're likely just sitting AFK doing other stuff. Blackwood Treasure Maps is almost close enough to where I would consider saying purchase it for 6,000 Telvar. The problem is that they've been out for too long. So yes, they've got super cool leads, including motifs, including gear. Problem is they've been out for too long. A lot of people already have the bad stuff, the bad mammoth jamma stuff that drops from there. So I would say this is still a skip, even though Blackwood Treasure Maps are pretty decent. We have our rings that we talked about earlier. Then we have some scripts. The scripts would have to be fantastic. And honestly, I don't even know what script I would ever recommend buying for Telvar, because frost damage is really good. You know, you could build some extra frosty builds, extra spicy ones, you know, in today's day and age with subclassing. You could build Mr. Freeze with all sorts of subclassed abilities. The problem is that you're not going to spend 15,000 Telvar. It's going to be more expensive if you don't have it unlocked already on another character. So why would you spend this much? That's the problem. This is, you know, easily tens of thousands of golden value on Xbox and hundreds of thousands of golden value on PC. We do have Snipe, Vibrant Yellow. This is interesting because Snipe is, you know, you could buy it for Telvar, which means that normally you buy this with Undaunted keys. PvPers don't usually have a lot of Undaunted keys. So, and Snipe, the problem with Snipe, though, is it's just not used very often. There are people who try to weave in Snipe, you know, they love their Snipe, but it's not a good PvP skill right now, in my opinion. With subclassing, it's like, why use Snipe versus Crystal Weapon, for example? There really is just no reason, and that's the problem with Snipe. Is it's cool, it's great, I think it looks fun. The problem is it's just not meta right now, and I don't see Snipe becoming meta anytime in the future. So to recommend a cool version of it is just a little bit difficult, especially for 65k Telvar, not 25, not 30, not 50, 65k. That's a lot. But everyone, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This week I actually had some really good things to consider. We actually had some good scripts that are purchasable with gold. I would definitely consider those two. Flame damage, especially. War Mage's defense also, especially if you're interested more in like the PvP aspect of scripting and scribing around. We had some great mythic options as well. We have Monomyth, Saint and Seducer, really good mythic options. Cyptcannon, that's a really annoying lead to get as well. Probably more niche if you're interested in any of those. You're probably already a PvPer if you're going to buy any with Telvar. If you're interested in Cyptcannon, you probably thankfully do have you know, some archival fortunes to spend. We had one, I would say, really decent option for a furnishing plan. Finally, one that's actually worth going out and considering. And I would say those were the key highlights of the week. Definitely a better week than most because there's more to consider, and definitely some essential items. Like if you ever think you're going to use flame damage on any scribing character, I would buy it, because you don't want to be like me where you're like, man, I just built this PvP character, really wish I had this one specific script, and then you just never get it. So keep that in mind. It is a cheap investment because it's with gold, not a premium currency. Thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our quick 3 giveaway drawings. As always, all you need to do is be subscribed / leave a like and a comment on the video, and look for a hidden word to be flashed upon the screen. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Back to work, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.